The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is finally here, and this is one of the first unboxings with it in the world, so a thumbs up for your boy would be appreciated. Let's get to it. So the box looks very familiar. It's a thin box and it is made with 100% recycled paper. Inside we of course get the device, and there is another pack in the upper compartment, so don't miss this. This has the USB Type-C cable, some paperwork, as well as a SIM card tool. And here it is. It looks a lot like the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which looked a lot like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So not much of a design change. We still have that triple ring design with the boxed off edges. And the overall size and weight is also very similar to the S23 Ultra. However, there are some key updates. Firstly, as we've seen on many leaks and rumors, we now have a flat display. The Samsung Galaxy S Ultra devices have traditionally had curved displays, but these have been getting flatter and flatter each year. And this year, Samsung has gone all out flat. Now, whether you like curved or flat displays comes down to your personal preference. I think curved displays look better, but flat displays are more practical, especially with the S Pen, and also they're easier to put screen protectors on. The other key update is a titanium frame, which has improved durability as well as enhanced resistance against dents. Now, it's really interesting how this has come just after the iPhone 15 Pro Max, although I'm sure Samsung has been working on it for a while. And if you do look at the titanium gray and compare it to the natural titanium iPhone 15 Pro Max, then they look very, very similar in terms of the color and finish. Now, there are 4 colors to pick from. They are all called titanium, so we've got a titanium black, violet, gray, as well as a yellow. However, as always, there will be 3 exclusive colors available directly from Samsung.com. A blue, an orange, as well as the green. Now, if you are thinking of buying the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, then I will leave a link in the description below. This is going to give you double the storage as well as up to $50 in Samsung credit. You're not going to find this anywhere else. We still have an IP68 water and dust resistant rating. And although the back is still Gorilla Glass Victus 2, we now have a brand new Gorilla Armor at the front. This is exclusive to the Galaxy S24 Ultra. This is supposed to reduce reflections by up to 75%. It's supposed to be 4 times more scratch resistant, and it's also made by up to 25% recycled materials. Now, this will be interesting because my S23 Ultra, I used it without a screen protector, and it does have a few scratches on there after using it for a year. So I'd like to see how durable Gorilla Armor is in comparison. Let's now talk about the display. So we do have a beautiful 6.8-inch display. It's using dynamic AMOLED technology. We've got an Infinity O punch out, which is now slightly smaller, and we've got slightly smaller bezels as well. Quad HD plus resolution, so things are super sharp. And we have an adaptive refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. This is using LTPO 4.0 technology, and that means it can go all the way down to 1 Hz when needed, so it is going to make it more efficient. But the key update that we have this year is the fact that the S24 Ultra now has a peak brightness of 2600 nits, which is quite a bit higher compared to the 1750 nits of the S23 Ultra. So not a massive upgrade for the display, but the S23 Ultra already had an amazing display. We still have the in-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, the 3D Sonic Gen 2. This hasn't really changed, but once again, this works absolutely fine. Right, now let's talk about the cameras because there are a few changes here. The hardware for most of the cameras is quite similar. So we've got a 12 megapixel f2.2 selfie camera, and we have a quad rear-facing camera setup. There's a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 200 megapixel primary camera, a 10 megapixel 3 times optical zoom camera, and then we have a brand new periscope zoom camera. So this is now 50 megapixels and it has 5 times optical zoom. There's been a lot of debate about why have Samsung gone down to 5 times optical zoom, but you have to remember that this is now a 50 megapixel camera. So the previous generation, the S23 Ultra, had a 10 megapixel periscope zoom camera. So with the 50 megapixels, Samsung is saying you're still going to be able to get 10 times lossless zoom, and it can still go up to 100 times. Now, I've only briefly tested this so far, and it does seem to be pretty good. But of course, guys, we're going to be doing some super SaaS style camera comparisons versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max firstly, and we're also going to compare the zoom of the S24 Ultra to the S23 Ultra. If you want to see those videos first, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss them. Now, this new camera also has a larger pixel size, so you will be able to get 160% more light, as well as 2 times wider OIS. This should make it better in low light as well compared to the S23 Ultra. Now, Samsung has really been talking about all of the AI features that the S24 Ultra offers, and I've had a chance to test out some of these. We have AI photo editing, so when you do take an image, you can just go onto it and it's going to make some suggestions of edits, such as removing reflections or using some more advanced generative edit features, such as selecting a subject, making it smaller or bigger, rotating an image, and filling in the blanks using generative AI. Now, we've seen similar things like Magic Editor and Magic Eraser on the Google Pixel 8 Pro, but it's nice to see that we now have these features on the S24 Ultra. In my brief testing, it did seem to work pretty well overall. For video, we do have 8K up to 30 frames a second, and we have now 4K up to 120 frames a second. However, for 4K at 120 FPS, you will have to go into the Pro video mode. And we also now have a new feature called Instant Slow-Mo. So you can take a regular video and then you can just go in the gallery and then long press, and that's going to actually slow it down, and it's going to use AI to generate intermediate frames. Now, I'm not sure how often I will use this, but it does seem to work pretty well. Right, now let's talk about the performance because things are very interesting. The good news is that we will be getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy across the board, regardless of where you get the S24 Ultra. Now, if you get the S24, the S24 Plus, they will be powered by the Exynos 2400, but the S24 Ultra 8 Gen 3 across the board. And this is for Galaxy, so this does have a higher clock speed. We've got 12 gigabytes of RAM as a base, 256, 512, or 1 terabytes of storage. We've got a 1.9 times larger vapor chamber with enhanced heat dissipation. So performance-wise, this is top of the line, and it's actually going to be slightly better compared to some of the competition because of that higher clock speed. Now, one of the reasons why we've got this hardware is because of all of the new software features. So we do have Android 14 with One UI 6.1 out the box. Now, Samsung has promised 7 generations of Android OS updates. That is very impressive, and it kind of brings it in line with a Pixel device. Samsung has been really good with their updates recently, but the key focus has been on all of the new AI features. Now, I'm going to try to run through as many as possible, the ones that I've tested. The first one is Live Translate. This is going to give you real-time AI two-way translation, and it's going to support up to 13 languages at launch. So if you're calling somebody and you enable this feature and they're speaking in a different language, you're going to be able to translate things to them, and they don't necessarily have to have a Samsung device. They could have an iPhone. We've also got an interpreter feature, which should be useful when you're traveling. This is going to be able to recognize what you're saying, translate it to the next person, and then when they reply, that's going to be able to translate and speak back to you in English or whatever language that you have set. There's transcript assist, so if you are recording a meeting, for example, it's going to be able to identify different speakers, and it's going to give you all of that in text. You're also going to be able to summarize this. There's chat assist, which is going to adjust the tone of your conversation. If you want it to sound a bit more professional, it's going to do that. If you want it to sound a bit more friendly, then it's going to add emojis and things like that. We've got browsing assist, so if you are on a web page, you can get bullet points of some of the key facts. A lot of these features we have seen on the Google Pixel devices once again, but it's nice that we've got them here on the S24 series. The other one is circle to search, so you can just hold down on the home button and just circle with either your finger or the S Pen, and then it's going to give you more information about whatever's on screen. You can also do this in the camera, so if you point them at somebody's trainers that you like, it's going to be able to find those trainers. Now, I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to use on a day-to-day basis, but there are a lot of AI features packed in the S24 Ultra. We've still got the enclosed S Pen. This works great, low latency, and if it is something that you need in a device, the S24 Ultra is going to be one of the best for it. And for the battery size is actually exactly the same as what we had on the S23 Ultra, 5,000 milliamps. Now, in terms of battery life, obviously I'm going to have to do some more testing, but considering we do have the new chipset, the 8 Gen 3, we might get better efficiency. In my experience of using the S23 Ultra for a year, I would say that it has very good battery life and it still has lasted me for quite a while. Charging hasn't changed. We don't get a charger included out of the box, but it can support up to 45 watts of wired charging. It's going to give you around 50% in 20 minutes. And we have 15 watts of wireless charging supported as well. For connectivity, we do have Bluetooth 5.3, we've got ultra wideband technology, but the new thing that we've got this year is Wi-Fi 7. So if you do have a compatible router, then you will be able to get some very, very fast speeds. Finally, pricing and availability. So the S24 Ultra in the UK is going to start at the same price, £1,250. However, in the US, the price has gone up by $100, so it's going to be starting at $1,299. Once again, you can get double the storage as well as $50 in Samsung credit using my affiliate link down in the description below. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, so if you are thinking of getting it, do act soon. You can pre-order today and the device will be coming towards the end of Jan. So that is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Incremental updates overall, but there are some key new updates which I'm really looking forward to testing out. If you want to see my coverage as well as my super SAF style comparisons, then do subscribe and hit that bell icon. If maybe you're not too interested in the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and you're interested in the S24 or the S24 Plus, which now has some interesting updates, then you can check out my coverage of those devices, which will be linked in the cards when it's live. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.